let's get into it. Citizen comments and concerns. Any citizens who want to make any comments right now? Hearing none. Okay. Approve agenda. Does anybody have anything to modify or change to tonight's agenda?
Nope.
No. Okay. Changes. And then approving the November meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion. I got one from Richard. Do I have a second? Second from Sally. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes from November? All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Now into the fun stuff. So the first fun item, update on MERP. So I know we got a big update from Ian last month on kind of where things stand, how they're working with Silver Maple for a construction management bid. I did reach out to Ian a couple days ago, I think, and just kind of seeing where the bid status was because I'm not on what is there? What is that document control platform called, David? Do you remember? Whatever it is.
Um, uh,
I can't
I
think of
forgot.
it.
I forgot. I
Well,
forgot.
in any case, I'm not on there, so I don't know really the day to day what's going on, but I just figured I'd check in with Ian, and he
I haven't.
responded.
I am on that, and I haven't seen anything posted in the last probably since our last meeting, basically.
Yeah,
So I haven't seen anything.
yeah.
Oh,
So
they had one post where Nick had sent some drawings, and they're drawings that I've seen before. So I
right,
don't know if that was just an update or something, but
yeah,
anything
yeah.
to.
So yeah, I reached out to Ian to see if there was an update on Silver Maple's bid or their bidding process. He just said that they hadn't gone back to him, and he thought it might be another month before they get the bid in, which would push us, of course, into January. And I thought that there was some sort of March deadline or something associated with the MERP project. I don't know, David, does that ring a bell to
Oh,
you?
it's that we can't start the MERP project until after town meeting.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
that's kind of our target. That's what we're kind of stuck with because they want to be able to use town hall, Holly Hall for
Yeah, that makes
town meeting.
sense. Right, right. Yeah. So I guess the idea would be to have somebody hopefully signed on the dotted line and ready
Right,
to go
right, right,
after that point. Yeah.
right.
Okay. Um, so yeah, so I guess Silver Maple's still working on their bid. And we'll just have to see where it goes. This type of stuff can be complicated, I guess, too, with the different options and things that I think Silver Maple's looking at. They probably have a lot of work cut out. They got their work cut out for them, I think, for sure. Just taking a few notes here. Okay. I think that's it on MERP, unless David or anybody else has anything they want to add.
No.
No? Okay. All right. The next agenda item is an update on SEAC, the Addison County Energy Navigators funding conversation that we had talked about last month, just to recap, last month, as a group, it didn't seem like there was anyone kind of available for championing it to the degree it would need to for us to get a petition, get the requisite signatures by I think it's mid-January. But as a group, I think we had decided, well, let's go back to Mike Roy with SEAC and um, ask some questions about, the financials, what's kind of like the path forward for SEAC and how would they use town funding or funding from a town like Bristol and those sorts of things. So I had emailed him. Let me see if I can pull it up quickly here. I had emailed Mike and he got back to me pretty quick with pretty detailed responses. I was definitely happy to see, that clearly I wasn't the first person who had asked him some of this stuff. So, um, let's see if I can find it here quickly. Um, yeah, so he got back to me. I think everybody was on that. Yeah, everybody was on that email chain, which was great. And I don't know, do we want to go through kind of what he said, or does anybody have any thoughts about it? Like, I kind of feel like we can kind of just open it up and see what people think about kind of what's the how they plan on using this funding. I don't know.
It sounded like to me that, well, one of his answers was that any the funds that the town would designate for SEAC, they wouldn't necessarily spend that specific amount in our town.
Right.
So it was kind of going into a general fund, and I
Yeah.
think that was one of the things we were wondering about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the other questions were, but I think there was that basically that at the end of the conversation, it sounded like he was okay. Well, what could he say? That we would be on board to try again in next year.
Yeah.
So I think I think we probably, to my mind, I think we need to have another conversation based on these, and maybe that's what we should be having now, but about his answers, whether we
Yeah,
still.
well, I can share my screen here. Maybe that
Yeah,
would be
maybe we
helpful.
should.
We can look at it that way. Let me. You guys don't really need to see all my email stuff, do you? Nah, that's all right.
Probably
Well,
better not.
yeah. Better for who?
I mean,
That's all right.
we could probably each look it up on our computers and pull it up.
Nah, that's all right. I got it. I'll pull it up here. You have to bear with me. I don't use Zoom at my job. We use Teams, so
Oh, yeah.
this is a little bit different for me. Can everybody
Yeah.
see
Yep.
my Gmail?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so the first question that we had for Mike was, is there a way to describe how SEAC or the Energy County or Addison County Energy Navigators is separate from Efficiency Vermont? Because that was something that I wasn't super clear about personally, and I
Mhm.
feel like it would have been something that people we are asking for signatures would probably want to know. Um, I thought this answer was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize Efficiency Vermont is itself a state-sponsored utility. So that was interesting to learn that. Um,
Yeah, I
I
think it
also
was one
thought
of
that
the first in the nation.
yeah.
I thought this was an interesting answer because I think we touched on this. I know Richard did the last meeting that that SEAC is really more um, hands-on, community-based
Hmm.
nonprofit as opposed to Efficiency Vermont. And even though they work kind of in some fashion together, but they're really SEAC is really a more of a community-based organization that it actually employs or has local people that they use.
Yeah. That's an important distinction for
Yeah,
sure,
Yeah.
I
but that
think.
was, and I guess it's a volunteer board too, as it says there.
Yeah. I ran into Spence Putnam recently and asked him how it was going, and he said the navigators are out there working. He's one, and that I think, a real difference between them and Efficiency Vermont is that they actually go into the houses and sit down with the people
Mhm.
um, and really try to orient them not only to what's needed, but how to access the funding
Mhm.
and continue to work with them. So I think it's very hands-on,
Mhm.
and they're also as an organization they did a lot of research to get going about the energy load in Addison County and so on. So I think they have a much more intimate knowledge, I think, of our conditions.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know that they're intimately familiar with Addison County, right? And that's an important distinction because Efficiency Vermont being statewide, you know, they probably have a broader picture of it, whereas,
Mhm.
as county energy navigators, they're lasered in a little bit, so to speak.
Yep.
I think in our town, we did have the benefit of having Matt Sharp, and he did a lot of workshops. And so, in a way, our town did get a little extra
Yeah, we
because of
did.
that. We did a lot of programs with him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and people learned a lot, and people did go into their houses. Well, they were contractors and stuff. So we had kind of that lucky thing with ourselves with Efficiency Vermont. we had some personal connections with people, which was great. But most towns don't have that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, let's see. So the next one, yeah, the next question was kind of a spin-off of the first one that I had, which was has SEAC thought about partnering with Efficiency Vermont? You know, this seems like kind of given that they are boots on the ground, so to speak, that that would be a good sort of like on the ground team with Efficiency Vermont. But I mean, Mike's answer essentially seems like they're talking about it. But it, you know, it just more seems like yes, they're aware that that is the case, that there could be overlap there, which is good, I think, because that would be a question that if someone approached me about it, I would want to ask like, well, how would they work with Efficiency Vermont? So good to know that they're doing that or they're thinking about doing that, right?
Mhm.
Well, a lot of the subsidies come from Efficiency Vermont,
Right.
so they pretty much have to.
I think I misclicked. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
which screen are you looking at? Okay. All right. Good.
yeah.
Just want to make sure I
I
didn't.
think
Yep.
that,
Yep.
yeah, I think this next question was what we were talking about earlier, that
Yes, that's right. Yep. So yeah, if
pool.
there was money from Bristol, right? How would is there a mechanism to make sure that it would be or not make sure, but like understand how it could be specifically reinvested into Bristol?
Mhm.
And it seems like the answer is it's more a general fund and then they use it as necessary, but they would report on their activities in Bristol and who they're talking to and that sort of thing. So there is a reporting mechanism, so we would probably be able to know how much effort and effects they're making in Bristol. But we wouldn't be able to say like, okay, if Bristol gives $4,000, I don't know, just picking a random number,
Mhm.
we're not going to get that amount of, measured value. But maybe that's okay. I mean, it's all about people's uptake on it, right? Too. I mean, that's part of
Mhm.
this.
Right.
If people use it, I mean, you think what an energy audit costs, and if they get into a number of homes, I think we'll get value out of it. I don't have any trouble with our money going into their operating expenses because they've got staff now. And um, Sally, you and I saw um, what was her name? Shannon, uh,
Yeah, that the younger woman who
younger
came
woman.
through for seeing the municipal buildings. You mean that one?
No, I'm thinking of at the conference at Lake Maury. Maybe you didn't
Oh,
attend that session,
yeah, maybe not.
um, but they're whatever she is, coordinator, director, whatever, talked about SEAC and did a really good job. She was really
Hmm.
impressive, and also hands-on. She didn't show up in high heels and a skirt. She was clearly a young woman who gets down.
Yeah,
So it was impressive.
that's
And
great.
yeah, I think they're well organized, and
Yeah,
I would argue that the money is well spent.
great.
You know,
I'm just
this maybe I wouldn't say this to someone from Bristol who asked me that question, but I also am not bothered by putting our money in a general fund because there are going to be communities that aren't going to be able to do this,
Right,
Mhm.
and I
right.
think the benefits are universal
Yeah,
as to it may not benefit Bristol per se, but the benefits are still there,
yeah,
for energy efficiency and energy savings. So I,
yeah,
to me, I it doesn't bother me so much that it's pooled, but maybe I wouldn't suggest that he was really
yeah,
watching the tax dollars.
yeah,
But I just feel like these are communitarian values that we think this is a broad issue and problem, and there are probably some little towns like we found in the MERP, a lot of little towns that don't have any money to do, and they
yeah,
have no organization, they have no
right.
like staff, nothing to do
yeah.
these things. So
Yep.
I think you know I'm
That's
more
true.
than willing to help some little town.
Yeah, I think it could be a selling point depending on,
Yeah.
depending on, who you're talking to, I guess, or, people's different perspectives. But I mean, amongst this group,
Yeah.
Bristol Energy Committee, I think we're all very much in, collective action, a collective way of locally doing this for a place like Whiting or Panton, like
Yeah.
towns that are like you blink and you're through them kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important. Like those are the places where a program like this that's community funded can have a
Yes.
real sizable impact too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Good points. We're trying to bring down the, carbon dioxide level across the whole state, not just in our town,
Or the world.
the
Right.
world.
We only got one planet, right?
Yeah.
So then this last question here was just kind of general what's CX financial plan, into 27 and past that, because as I had remembered hearing that there was some funding through at least December of 26. So this answer here was actually interesting. It seems like they've got a little bit more through 27. And they're talking to legislators. I know, Richard, we talked about that at the top of this. Everybody and their mother, it seems, is getting ready for this next legislative session. So,
Mhm.
so there's I guess, a lot of moving parts with that. But yeah, I thought this response seemed honest and reasonable to me. Like, you never know until you know, but this is kind of where we're at. So I thought
Mhm.
it was a good level of detail.
When you really think about it, when they started, I mean, it was a real vision when they started, and no guarantee that it was going to work. I remember, getting emails and things through the startup phase, and I know Sally was actually on the board,
Mhm.
and it took a lot of guts to devote the time, and um, I think on their part, a lot of altruism.
Yeah.
Yep. So so Mike had sent all this, and then he followed up with me after I didn't get back to him quite as quickly as I had wanted to. And I didn't really want to. I'll stop sharing so I can move this back over. Can you see me again? Right? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I didn't really get back to Mike in a timely manner. So he politely followed up, and I didn't want to wait to talk to all of you before saying this, but I essentially told him the conclusion we kind of came to in November, which was we're interested still, but the timeline just doesn't work. It's a little too late in the year, but we definitely want to try for the next go round. And he got back to me immediately and was like, "Sounds good. I'll check in the summer," kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's good.
I think we're all on the same page. This group is all on the same page, and Mike seems totally understanding of kind of where we're at. But
Mhm.
so I guess I'll just keep it to that. Like we're still interested, like for all the reasons we talked about, and we kind of got some good answers. And so I think we just look forward to next, this time or later next year being more prepared and organized for it, I guess, would be my
Yeah.
my thought.
Maybe next year we can think about when would be the best times or events where we could get those signatures from people. Don't we still need to get a bunch of signatures
We do.
to get some money? So that's something we could look forward to next year. Just think about when are going to be some key times to get get our face in a lot of people's faces to ask them.
And we'll also need to prepare an
Yeah,
elevator speech and a longer term, and then be ready to defend it at the town meeting in
yeah,
2027. Wow,
yeah,
2027.
yeah.
Yep, good point. Okay. All right. Anything else on that from anybody on that topic? No.
One question about it is, so we would need to run it by, we need to get the signatures first before we present it to the select board and stuff at the town meeting, or the opposite?
I think there's a deadline for it to get on the town meeting
Oh, yeah,
agenda.
right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think we should get the
So,
signatures first.
Yeah, signatures first.
yeah,
So
good.
not
Signatures
people
first, then get on the ballot. Okay, great.
this town meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
The tool ship. Everybody's
Toolship. Let's talk
everybody's favorite
toolship.
little
Toolship.
project.
Yeah, this is a good one. So,
I don't see so much
on
enthusiasm for our project in this committee as I have with this tool ship thing.
toolship is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dan and I got in the car and went down to Brandon on this past Saturday, and we met with Jeff and Dave, who are part of ReVHS, which is the organization that owns the old Brandon High School.
Oh,
And the Brandon High School is just kind of it's abandoned. It's not. It's very. I mean, there's no insulation, and it was kind of like walking into like a workshop kind of thing. But that's where the pilot toolship was built, and also where the current toolship that Brandon uses was also built. So that would be where the majority of I think the that's kind of where their headquarters is. Um, and actually, while I'm doing this, let me pull up I had sent a Google Drive link to everybody of that flyer that Jeff and Dave had given to us.
I have it look in front of me right now.
Yeah, let me pull it up because it has more detail than the one that we were looking at last month, which I thought was helpful.
Okay.
Let's see, where did I put it? I put it somewhere. Um, expanded flyer. Is
It's
it?
on your email
Yeah,
that you
there it is.
sent.
Got it. Okay, I got it. So let's see if I can do this screen share again. Share screen two. How's that? Do we see build a toolship
Yep.
for your community? Okay. So, a lot of this stuff is similar to what we kind of knew before. The way it works, at least in we kind of got a detailed description of how Brandon does theirs. Essentially, it it's a small shed. It's not intended to be like towed by a car or towed by a truck. It's light enough. At least this tool ship too. It's got like the different type of architectural panels, I guess. Maybe David, you know more about that. It's like a lighter type of panel that they build it out of. So it's, I guess when they're moving it around in Brandon, they use like an e-bike or something to move it around. So it's a little bit lighter. Um, and they have an interesting like locking mechanism where it's got essentially like a little padlock. You text a number and it gives you a code, and then you can, punch the code in, and then it opens. But all of the back end for the way that it works in Brandon is that it's like sort of headquarters is at the Brandon Library. So, and the vision for that was that, okay, well, the library is kind of a public space. It's kind of an apolitical space. Everyone can kind of agree on the library. Like if it's a library program, it's or a library sort of facilitated thing that it would be more, well or more broadly accepted by everybody in the community, which I thought, makes sense. Um, so that's how they do it, and they're the system with how they check in people. I think at the library, I think you go to the library or you talk to the library and you say I want to be able to use the toolship. They register your phone number, and then if your phone number texts the number on the toolship, you are permitted to get a code. So like there's like a sort of way that they control access to it on an individual basis. So it does require a phone number. Um, so let's see, what else can we talk about here? Yeah, so I took a bunch of notes too. Where's my notepad?
one thing, just while you're
Yeah,
on that,
good.
I wondered if we should also ask Meredith if the
Yeah.
rec department would be interested. Has anybody raised that?
I
Um,
just I just jotted it down on my piece of paper right this
Yeah.
minute. I just thought of it, but
Yeah,
um
I was thinking that too. I was thinking Aiden and Meredith would definitely we definitely want to talk to them probably
yeah,
about this.
they have more real estate than the library has,
yeah,
but it's just a thought.
yeah. Yeah, there's something about also they are, well, I don't know if they're more tech oriented or whatever, or that even matters. But, you know, They're more
somebody,
like grounds and maintenance kind of people. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But I like the library because of the reasons we've already talked about too. And
mhm,
it's also centrally located and there's probably space. Not sure where they'd want it exactly, but we want it where there's sun for sure.
definitely.
No
Right.
trees. So
Right.
that's something. It might be shaded by the library, I'm not sure. But I like the idea of the library too,
Yeah.
if it works.
So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
we'll have to survey spaces
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
solar gain and
Yeah.
see what's practical.
Yeah, and the way that it works the way that it works in Brandon is that I think the way that they do it is one of the either I think it's either Jeff or Dave. Um, they will move it around and they'll use front porch forum as a way to say, okay, it's in this neighborhood this for the next
Mm.
couple of days or week or whatever. So there is still that like responsibility aspect of like the library in Brandon, they don't really do much with it. It's just the place where it's kept and where you go to get on the list to use it.
Mm.
But the idea is that it's not intended to be an intellectual load on anybody at the library. It's not intended to
Mm.
be anything that they really have to think about. And Jeff and Dave offered to connect me with the librarian, the library person at in Brandon to just ask, have it
Mm.
send some questions, just get a feel, get like a sort of, talk to them about how they feel about it.
Yeah.
But the idea is that it's not another thing that the library has to deal with. Now, I think that's important, and I think if we were to talk to Meredith or Aiden or Meredith, we wouldn't want to give them another thing to have to deal with too. Like I
Yeah.
think we want to be sensitive about that for sure as part of the pitch. And that's where like it can be a little bit like, okay, if we're not gonna make it necessarily like it's not the library's thing that they have to be responsible for in a physical way, and we don't really want rec to have to deal with it too, then there's some ownership that we as the energy committee I feel would have to take responsibility for it and
Mm.
be the responsible charge on some
Yeah.
level to move it around, to
Yeah.
periodically make sure everything's charged, like that sort of like maintenance kind
Mhm.
of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's just something we all have to be honest as a committee about. And I know
Yeah.
Dan would probably say the same thing if he was here because he and I kind of had this conversation while we were driving back. So um, that's something to be aware of. Is that the intent is for it to be as not as to be as minimally disruptive or an added thing that town folks in the library has to think about, right? We don't want to burden them with this necessarily.
Yeah.
You know,
Basically, we need to manage it.
one of the things I've found with this kind of project is we really need whoever, I really think we ought to invite the director of the library and Meredith and anybody else we think of to an information meeting and see who catches fire,
Yeah.
because that's what it's going to take. It can't be imposed on anybody.
That's right.
And if Meredith jumped out of her seat and yelled "Yay!" you know, that'd be perfect. Uh,
Yeah.
I've done programs in schools, and I can tell you, once it's mandated by the principal, it's dead. But if you find a teacher in the school who really likes the idea, then it's going to go.
Find a local champion, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of the
exactly.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that by putting it out there to those two, library and Meredith or whatever, um, and then asking maybe if there are any other people we think, bringing them together so we can talk about it and so they can help us with ideas rather than
Right.
we're
Right.
bringing you together to pick one of you two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so they can bring in some ideas. They might have some excellent ideas that have nothing to do with either of those two, but
Right.
Maybe the
Yeah. Use it
Bobcat.
as an informational meeting,
yeah.
kind of
Maybe the
thing.
Bobcat would like to run it. They could call it the Bobcat Lawn Maintenance Building.
Right. I was thinking all Earth Renewables, but
Oh
I
yeah.
was thinking
That's a
them because I don't know how far down this little flyer you guys got, but the price tag on this thing,
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
little like whoa. So um, maybe that's a good segue into talking about that. I mean, we could go through the details on the construction of this, but I mean, I think we
That's
don't need to.
premature. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we need to really like dive into the. I mean, which we kind of did. Me and Dan did when we were down there. They were like really
Yeah.
we were getting into the weeds, which was helpful and interesting, especially as an electrical engineer. I was like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
but not really particularly useful for this group. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. The way that they would do it is also maybe before we get just right before we talk about the cost part. They would help us. They would do the design. They would help us, lay it out the right way. And then they would do a planning workshop, which would we would kind of review the design, identify the right people, because I think the idea is that it's a community build. So we would, if we got to this point, we would have like we would host an event. Maybe we do it on the town green or something, and re-BHS, Jeff and Dave, they come, and we have maybe 4, 5, 6, however many volunteers, and then we build it. It's like a community build to kind of have that
That's
community
great.
ownership part of it. So.
Yeah.
Um, that's sort of the process, and then once it's built, then it gets turned over, and we can start using it. And now we talked about a little bit of maintenance stuff. We'd have to find local champion for that sort of thing, whether it's an energy committee or the energy committee in conjunction with um, another group or whatever. But with that all said, so we all kind of understand the concept, right? Cost wise, the actual toolship itself is priced in this at $8,500. Now, one thing that Dan and I noticed is that it's not itemized. Now, I'm not saying
Yeah.
we need to know like down to the nut or down to the nut and bolt or screw, but if we're going to, depending on how we try to attack this from a funding perspective, we'd probably
Yeah.
need a little bit more detail, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that seems like a lot. That's not even counting the
And that's not
2,700.
that's right. That's not even the equipment. That's not even the
Yeah.
tools. That's
Oh,
just the
wow.
box and
Yeah.
the API platform to manage users.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, we could go down to what's the place down there at the corner where they have the little
Oh,
cabins?
Livingston's.
oh, Livingston,
Livingston's,
yeah,
yeah, Livingston's.
yeah,
No, I want to work with these
But they
guys.
won't.
They're fun.
They won't have.
But still,
They won't
get
have
get one
flight.
and put it out on the Bristol rec field and do it out of there or something.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
So
I had a question, Ben. When
yeah,
you were talking to them and they were talking about design, like,
yeah.
isn't this thing already designed like a
For the
kit?
most part, yeah. That was
Oh,
also
okay.
something that kind of I was a little bit like, what, it seems like the idea is that you can just build these pretty quickly because your
Right.
design is refined.
yeah,
And then it kind of and then that was where it kind of was like, oh, well, we'll help you with like graphics and like layout. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really
yeah,
a lot of I don't
yeah.
know what the value is in that. Like we could just
We
have a
could do,
bunch of first graders from BES paint all over it. Like
yeah,
that's fine,
totally.
right?
I agree.
Like I don't
Maybe.
really so that and that's all rolled in, David, to your point. That's all rolled into this 8,500.
Oh, it is.
So it's yeah, that so it's the design and the materials to build it. That's what's in the 8,500. And then there's, they quoted the last page of this is a quote for the equipment, which, they're using Ego brand. I don't really know a lot about it, but
Ego's excellent. That's a good brand.
so yeah, that's good. So they've kind of quoted that as a separate line item. And then there's a little bit associated with the user API, like the back end software they call it Pinhead. Um,
Yeah.
And there is a yearly, so the first 12 months of that platform is included in the 8,500, and then beyond that, it's like $10 a month
Yeah.
um per year, I guess.
I think that we ought to contact David Blittersdorf with Rare Earth Renewables
Yeah.
and see if he has any interest in sponsoring this. I mean, that
Yeah.
would make a huge difference.
Oh, huge,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got his information. If you want, I'll see if he has any maybe approach from the standpoint of, we've got this project in mind. Would you be interested in participating? Kind of
Mhm.
inquiry. Does that make sense?
I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, I would even maybe even start with because I know her. Who's what's her Carly. I think she's the
Oh, yeah.
Marketing.
like marketing. Thank you. That's the word. I couldn't think of that word.
Okay.
Um, the marketing person and just start there and say, hey, what do you think? And see what, see what she says. I mean, I would,
Mhm.
I think, because I think Courtney on the core side of things, just to, peel the curtain back. I know when Courtney's kind of working with them on sponsorships for like Pocock or
Mhm.
the farmers market or any of the other core stuff, she usually starts with Carly. And I think Carly's
Yeah,
kind of got a little bit of ability to like approve things or say, yeah, that sounds like something
yeah,
we'd like kind of thing. So,
yeah.
um,
That's good.
yeah. But I agree. I think All Earth Renewable, they were the first, that was the first group I was like, oh, I know just who might be interested in this.
Yeah. I mean, those guys even have all these old panels that they've got laid around, laying around too.
Without, yeah, me and Dan talked about that too. Dan was like, yeah, they got all those panels out there. We could probably save a little bit of money with sourcing our own panel. Like we're
Yeah,
already, the wheels are already kind of spinning a little.
I know.
So,
Go down, yeah, go down to Livingston's, get the rig, bring it
right,
back, get the panel on it,
right,
put it on wheels.
right, right.
Thanks for the idea.
So, um, the
Right.
other thing too would be like potentially like grant funding. I don't know how. I know the landscape maybe for public grants is very unstable right now, might be the way to characterize it.
Mm.
Right.
But worth asking Frida, worth checking in if the library is interested in being part of this, saying, "Hey, what grants do you think does the library have like they had suggested, Jeff has suggested, does the library have like a library of things system where they lend out other things?"
Mm.
Yeah,
Um,
I was thinking that Bristol, if I recall correctly, they were renting out cross-country skis
Yeah.
at some
Yep.
point. I
Yeah.
don't
And
know how that
snowshoes.
works. Yeah, how does that
Yeah.
work, Richard? Do you know?
I think it might have been a free thing, you know,
Yeah. I think you just
to
check them.
borrow.
You
Yeah.
reserve
But I
them.
mean, are the skis there and the
Yeah.
boots and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. I
So
think so.
so they're kind of used to it, I guess, in some ways. If I
yeah,
don't know if they like it.
Well, that's why a brainstorming meeting might be really
Yeah, yeah,
useful.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
maybe invite Carly to that.
yeah, I
Oh yeah,
agree. I
Mm.
that's a good
agree.
idea.
Yeah,
Oh, excellent
that's
idea.
great.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a few notes here. Sorry.
Would we be thinking of charging people to use it or not? I guess we don't really have a way to.
No, I don't think so. I think the idea is that once you've got it up and running, there's that periodic maintenance part, which is making sure things are charged. I mean, I guess eventually there would need to be, I would think far in the future, if equipment fails or you got to restring something, like stuff like that, where I don't know how I honestly I don't know how you handle that. I don't know how Brandon is going to handle that. That's a great
Yeah.
question though. I mean,
Well,
I just wonder
the
about the.
batteries don't last forever. I've
that
got an
too. Yeah.
ego. I've got an ego like the one they're showing there, and I'm already into my second battery, and they're really expensive.
Yeah.
Well, I also wonder about the $125 a year, and we would have
Hmm.
to
Right.
get that from the town or something. I mean, someone's got to pay that, right? Hopefully not
The,
this
pro-
county.
the problem with the problem, I was thinking you could have subscriptions to use it,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but the problem with that is once people pay money for it, they demand more.
Yeah.
They're less tolerant of, well, you're going to have to wait because this thing isn't working right now. Well, I paid for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true. That's
So I
true.
Yeah.
think if we could grant fund it, it'd probably be better.
Hmm.
Um, and it's going to be, you know, we're going to have to really have to trust people to take good care of it. It's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there is that sort of community ownership thing that, I mean, again, the guys in Brandon they made it sound like they've never had an issue with vandalism or anything like that. They've had a couple, I think they did mention that each battery has a tracker. I don't know
oh
if
yeah,
that's
I
like,
noticed that.
I don't know if that's like publicly like described. Like, let me put it this way. I don't know how many people are using the tool ship know that the batteries have a tracker in them, but it
Right.
did come in handy one time, they said, when somebody had accidentally like taken the battery because they had their own electrical thing and they just left it in their garage, and then the tools, Jeff or whoever was able to say, "Oh, we're missing a battery. Let's go, find it, find where it is."
Yeah.
And then they talk to the person and they got the battery back. So that's
Yeah,
a
that,
bit of a weird one, I think. That's a good point, though. Like, how do we,
yeah,
that level of community ownership and trust and that sort of thing?
yeah, yeah, right. I think that's important somehow. Um, another thing that we could do is create, I mean, I guess this is a little different, but we could see if we talk to people about this ahead of time, say who wants to be on board a group of people in Bristol, and we need help doing this. So you can be on it, be signed up to use it, and also be part of the helper group. So we have like people who are signed on to feel like they're a helpful, responsible person for the thing too. And they do some stuff they get to use it when they want, and they also can help with um, I don't know what. I'm not sure. I obviously haven't thought about this more than about 30 seconds right now. So,
I like the
um,
You,
idea of
you
getting
guys,
people in the community involved early on too, other people besides just us, and just
yeah.
maybe that seems
Yeah, one of the things
logical.
about that is if you have enough people who are kind of maybe that group chips in a little bit and they have a, s- a stake in the thing, and so they help with creating this, and then they're like, if people can't pay for it or something, or maybe we don't, no one does pay or something like that. At least, I don't know, at least there's more support for it than,
I'm wondering if we should conduct a survey of need.
yeah,
If we had this, would you use it? You know, do we have people who in Bristol who would need it, would use it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Every now and then in Front Porch Forum, you see somebody asking for, help with something, lawn wise or something.
Yep.
yeah,
But in a way, we almost ought to say survey and see if people would embrace it.
yeah,
Yep. I think that's a
and
great first step because
yeah,
if we get feedback on that's like, I don't know, then okay, good to know. Like that's a data point, right? I think
hmm,
so. I think that's a very logical next step for sure. Sorry,
yeah.
Sally, I think I cut you off there.
No,
That's
that's great.
probably
That's
going to
great.
be a question from any grant uh, program is, can you show need?
Yeah, yeah.
I would think, oh, what is the grant organization, Sally, that we've used in the past? New England, something or other. Um, they issue grants up to $5,000 for new energy related initiatives.
Hmm.
I was on there. I was one of their reviewers for a while.
Oh, cool.
Um, and that's a possibility too. I think
Yeah,
I think if we can show that there's a need, and it, then go to um, who's interested in working on this,
yeah,
and then go to
Yep.
grant work and so on.
yeah.
Yep.
I think that's good. I bet there'll be a lot of people who'd be interested.
Should we think about setting up a little meeting in January with library director Meredith, Carly, anybody else you can think of?
Do you think we want to do that just with them before we check into who might be interested,
Well, I'm
or
just thinking
have
about
those
a
interested?
brainstorming and information
Okay.
session. I mean, if
Yeah,
they're not interested, it doesn't matter if
yeah,
people are interested because we
yeah,
wouldn't have any vehicle to deal with it. I don't know.
That's why I think finding if we can demonstrate the need first, then we can go into that and say, look, people
yeah,
want this or people are interested in this.
Yeah.
This would be a great marketing opportunity for all of renewables. This would be a great way to get people involved with the
Yeah.
rec department. I don't know. I'm just,
I
spitballing
ag
here.
I agree. I think we have to know if there's a need or not, if an
Right.
interest, and then we go to a place that's going to help us do it.
Right.
How do we do that survey?
So we need to work with somebody who knows how to uh, put together one of those Survey Monkey
Oh yeah.
kinds of things and maybe put
Yeah.
it out on Front Porch Forum and things like that.
Yeah. Um,
Uh, One thing I would note is it's going to be hard to get people to think about mowing a lawn or doing any kind of edge clipping
Number. Yeah, that's true.
in January. But hey, it's coming up.
yeah. I mean, we might want to catch
What
them
happened?
before someone buys them one for Christmas
Well, that's true. Or
or
by
their
next
next birthday.
All right.
or next spring. Yeah, Valentine's Day.
You know
Okay.
what would be funny if we could ask the guys in Brandon if we could borrow it maybe in the early spring and just set it
Mm.
for a day somewhere, and then with a big sign on it. What the hell is this? You know?
It'd be great to get it to like at one of the markets or
Yeah.
the farmers market or
That was
something.
that's the big selling point for me
It
is that
would
like
be
if we
Yeah.
can get one and
yeah,
plop it down at a farmer's market, like this is the thing that like
Yeah.
has a tangible physical
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah,
People
That's
can go, I
true.
get what this is. I
Yeah.
see this. And if you open it up, look what's inside of it. And you can do
Yeah.
this with it. And you could borrow it for a couple hours on Tuesday afternoon or whatever. Like there's a lot, I think there's a lot there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
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 Actually,
It really draws you in. When I saw it at
yeah.
Lake Maury,
Oh yeah.
we were on our way out,
Yeah.
and you know, I left the car running and the whole business and went over.
I agree. That's what it was like for me too there. I was just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Yeah, I think that is something like the farmers market and maybe even another thing that's happening there sometime, when there's a big gathering,
Mhm.
we sign up to have it on there and then have people actually sign up if they want.
Sure.
Like,
They're like,
Yeah,
hey, this is the branded tool ship. We're trying to get one in Bristol. Is this something you'd be interested in? Or I don't know. Or is that like yeah, like the problem is the time of year is just awful. Like like I'm feeling great about like I feel like we could really get it moving, but we're not gonna be in a place where we can demonstrate it until, a couple months from now, probably, right?
yeah. But
Realistically.
but we have what you sent or what they sent to us. We have a lot there.
True.
Cute little picture.
Yep.
People can
I,
sit
for
about it,
the,
sit inside and dream about it now.
I think if we had a picture, if we
Yeah.
used the pictures, got rid of most of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
copy.
We could probably use the smaller one, which is somewhere. I think I have it in here. The one with less.
The one page.
Yeah, the one page sort of just quick hit. I think it's this. Let's see.
We could put it out on Front Porch Forum in January. And maybe, what do you think about shooting for Green Up Day to have one here?
It's not a bad idea.
Or is that too late?
I mean,
Um,
I mean, we could do this on our own. I mean, my impression uh, is that this is our project. This is our community project. And ReBHS, they got a lot of other things that they're doing. Like at the high school, they got big grand plans to reskin it and make it a community workspace. So I don't necessarily think like we're not on any timeline other than our own. Let me put it
Right.
that way, right?
Right.
So if that's how long it takes, that's how long it takes. I mean, you know, I'm excited about it, so I want to do it, but like obviously
yeah,
like I'm one person, so
yeah,
in a larger community. So yeah, but I think I don't think there's necessarily like a time constraint. We also, we don't have a grant or anything to do it, so there's nothing like, pushing other than our own interest in it, is my
Yeah,
sense of it. So,
yeah. Um, you know, and as cute as this little shed is and everything, we could do a similar thing without this shed. We could set up a panel, at the Bristol, whatever it's called over there, the hub area, or somewhere. We could set it up even if we didn't have a whole shed. Well, I think it's great to have a shed, but
I
I'm
do
just
too.
saying, I'm just
Yeah.
saying we could start doing it if we, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get it too taken apart now with my talk. You know, lots of lots of ways we could do this, but I think it's a great idea to talk to people about it and see somehow if they're interested
yeah.
in, having this happen.
Maybe you ought to talk to Ian,
Yeah,
get a town view.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like I talk to him all the time about everything. So I feel
I
like
know.
it's all, whenever I need something, whenever I want to bounce an idea, it's like I know
Yeah,
just who to talk to.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, because he may, yeah, that could be an avenue. Like I like the idea of, like, I think it's good to gauge town interest, to gauge interest, right? Especially in the village where this thing would probably be. Like we couldn't move this thing if we did have one. You couldn't move it out to the townies like me, who, it's not. This isn't for me. This is for people in the village.
Hmm.
So like making sure that like sort of vision for it being in the core of the town or of the village and all of that, but seeing like, do we think that this is a viable thing? Like, is there interest in the town? And would we have like a collaborative partner, whether it's the library, rec, whoever? Like I think everything we said here makes a lot of sense. I think just yeah, it's the implementation, it's the how do we get the word out to see if people are interested in a constructive way, and then go from there in terms of, okay, we clearly have a need or there's a desire for it. Now let's talk about implementation, funding, on all those sorts of nitty gritty type things. Like I think we're still probably at the 5,000 foot level, right? It's just really exciting and cool and interesting to me personally. That's why I'm
Oh,
so
I agree. I think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and I want to be careful, like, these guys created the whatever you call it, where if you made it, then someone else can't copy it.
Yeah, the back end part of it for sure. Like the
Yeah,
way that they manage the access seems
yeah,
proprietary on their
yeah,
end, and
yeah,
that's an
yeah,
interesting detail,
yeah.
something to be aware of.
So if we're not going to do it following their thing, giving them money for it and all that, we need to think of our own way to do things without copying them, but just using
What
the
would you
idea.
what would you think if the purpose was to introduce people to electric lawn equipment?
Yeah.
We made it as a plug-in rather than a solar, which would simplify a lot. Um,
Where would we plug in?
well, it would have to be a library or someplace. We'd have to
Mhm.
look into that. Um, but that the thing always went to the same spot at night and got plugged in.
Yeah. Another thing is, could it be that people plug it in at
Bring it, yeah,
either at the end or at the beginning?
bring it back fully charged.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It could
Either bring
also
it
be
back fully charged or use it, and then the next person has to know they have to charge it before they use it or something like
I
that.
think that's
Yeah.
the beauty though of it being solar is that
Yeah.
there is no owner, there's no user responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I think you have a higher uptake on it because it's just parked at the corner of X and
Yeah.
Y.
Yeah.
And if you've got a code, you text the number, you're on the list, you get the code, you can open it and borrow the hedge clip or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
think that is the community aspect to it that I
Yeah.
think is really interesting, is that it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be tethered to anyone's physical residence,
Yeah.
you know? I
That's good.
agree, it simplifies the engineering of it and it simplifies the construction and everything, for sure, it definitely would do that. If it was, to Richard's point, as an intro, like, well, look, there's electric lawn equipment that exists and it's good and it's, it works really well, right? It's half as heavy and all that other stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder, did they say anything about after somebody, let's say somebody uses all of the equipment on their lawn? I know the runtime for the mower is about 45 minutes on a battery because that's what I run into. Um, and it charges really quickly in about an hour, hour and a half. It recharges. I use it. I really like it because I can get most of my stuff done. And then my excuse is, well, I've got to charge the battery, so I'm going to go take a nap. It works out
Great.
perfectly for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
somebody who's trying to get a whole lot done, does this have, I think I remember it has multiple batteries.
It
Yeah.
does have multiple batteries, at least the one that I saw did. I think the idea, and this is where this was something that was said right at the beginning of when we met when we were down there, is that it's not really intended to be like a replacement for your own lawn care stuff. It's more of like a supplement, was the way it was described to me. So
Huh.
which kind of was a little bit like, okay, but
Yeah.
then or maybe it's like if you're like me and you got 2 acres, like, yeah, this doesn't really work. But who in the
No.
village has 2 acres? That's what I
Yeah.
mean, is that like
Yeah.
based on where it's intended to be used. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. My ego has two batteries so that I can have a lighter weight battery on it, run it, and the other one can be charging while I'm using it. And then I can switch them out if I want. It never happens. I only use one battery's worth for my yard, but it is handy to have the two batteries and be able to switch them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having redundancy in the batteries is important. Yeah.
And the question that I was starting on is, will that solar panel charge the batteries in an
Not it,
equivalent time? And I doubt it.
I doubt it. It depends on the day, depends on the clouds,
Well,
depends
that
on the,
too, but
I think if
I don't think a panel that size
yeah,
will
yeah,
rejuvenate
I
one
I
like
think
that.
if it was your own personal little shed, probably would be sufficient. But if three people are using it on the same day, by the time that third person gets it, I think that those batteries be probably
Yeah,
depleted.
yeah.
So it probably would make sense to have both, like ability to plug it in
yeah.
to someone's house.
I
Um,
think yeah.
I just one other question, maybe a little segue from this conversation, but how's this thing moved? How do you move it? It,
So
it
the
looks like little wheels that like,
Yeah.
and someone
Yeah,
said,
it's basically the one that I saw, the one that we saw, it has essentially like a very small hitch on it, and it's intended not to be towed by like a vehicle. It's not, the wheels aren't designed for it to go 40 miles an hour down the road. They move it around with an e-bike.
okay, so it's not like I would go to the library and get it.
No, that's not
Okay,
how they do it in Brandon. The way
you
they do it
order it.
is,
You say I want it at two
yeah.
o'clock, or that's a slot, let's say, and then they move it to your spot.
I
Your
don't think it's an on-demand thing like that. The way I understand the way they do it is that and this is where maybe we need some more clarification, but they you don't sign up to you don't use it unless you're standing right in front of it, first of all, right? So you can't get a code for it unless you text the number that's like on the little placard that's on the front. I think it's like this little thing here. So you have to be right in front of it to use it. And this is where I guess I don't really understand how they implement this, but they move it to different parts of Brandon periodically. But when and why is not clear to me. So that's a good question for me to go back to them with, is like, on a regular basis, like, how do you plan, basically, like, maybe a better question is like, if you're so and so, like, how do you plan to use it? Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if you want to use it, but
Well,
it's 5 blocks away, right? Well, then okay, then I guess I can't use it that day. Well, okay, but then what's really the utility of it, right? Is that it? But it's not intended to be an on-demand thing either. So, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good question.
So if it were my project, I would buy for less than $500 a actual trailer from Harbor Freight, um, and
That
build
you
it
put
on
it
that
on.
trailer so it could be towed
Okay.
behind an ATV or could be towed behind a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Because I think the flaw in this is how you're going to move it around Bristol.
Yeah.
But if it were
Yeah.
able to be checked out, picked up, taken somewhere in the village only, so you're not going to be going 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we build it with that in mind.
Yeah.
I wonder if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
The question becomes who registers the trailer, you know?
Mhm.
And there are a lot of questions. Who are you talking to? The Energy Committee. Energy Committee. Oh. Gail was wondering if I was just talking to my computer.
Yeah.
Well, you are in a way.
It'll
You can
come
say
to
hi
that.
from Sally to Gail.
Say
It'll
hi
come
to
to that.
Sally.
Thought maybe it was social action.
So,
She just didn't know what group of weirdos I was talking to this
yeah.
time.
It's the local one.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, right. This time, right? Yeah.
Oh,
So I think we have a lot of I think this is I think this is a cool project. I think we've got more questions probably than we know at this point. Both from a is there even interest in this, first of all,
Yeah.
right? And and then if there is, then the implementation questions come about, like where
Yeah.
Richard just brought up, like, oh, well, what if we built it on a trailer that you can tow, and then we changed up the way that the check-in and checkout procedure works than what the way Brandon does it? Because there's no reason why we can't do it differently, right? We could do it
Right.
differently in Bristol.
Yeah.
But I think that's an implementation question and a design question,
Yep.
that would, and hopefully all that stuff we can work with Jeff and David on figuring some of that stuff, because I'm sure we aren't the first. I know I think they're talking to Middlebury about this, and there was one other town that I think they mentioned had an interest in one of these. Maybe it was Virgins, but I don't remember. So yeah, I think the logical next steps are definitely figuring out a community survey, and maybe talking also to Ian in like a town capacity. Just say, hey, we talked about this at the energy committee. We're gonna do a little survey. Curious what your thoughts are from a town perspective on something like this, and just see what he said, and just see what they say. Like none of this is obviously very low stakes right now. We're very high level with it, so that to me seems like the next logical step.
Yeah.
So what if we ask the guys in Brandon to send us a file with these three pictures so we could integrate them into a survey, um, and begin working on that. I'm not saying get it out tomorrow, but I mean, just
Yeah,
I'd be willing to do that and then submit that for our next meeting.
yeah.
Does
As
this okay. Does this make it so that we couldn't pivot if we wanted to pivot? No, they'll be glad that this
I
is being shown out there in the
This
world.
is
'Cause
conceptual.
yeah.
I mean, if I ask him, hey, can you give me these pictures, and he says no, I'll just snipping tool them. I'll do it myself. I don't care. I don't care. I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. I had this is mine now. Like it's fine. I don't think it's. Yeah, I get the sense that they want to collaborate. Like they definitely want to. Um, like this is all part of the re-BHS. Kind of what their view is for it being, that organization and what they're trying to do, at least in Brandon. So I think they would be fine with
Yeah.
sharing these, and if we say, yeah, we got a lot of community interest, but we want to change this, that, and the other thing, I think they would be open to collaborating with us
So
on something that works.
I'll send him an email.
Okay. You have his contact? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell him we're really interested. We want to see what interest there is in the town of
Yeah.
such a thing, and
Yep.
pictures of theirs would help us kind of project an image.
Yeah.
People know what we're
Um,
talking about.
People love a visual, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can't do it without that.
Yeah.
what does the ReVHS mean? Re
That's like their organization's name. I think it's supposed to be like Rehabilitate Brandon High School or something. Like it's
Oh, okay,
Re
right, right, right.
BHS.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
yeah, right. It's not anything to do with the exact
Right.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll work on that between now and the next meeting. I won't get us, in any commitments or,
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
like we said, this is a high level thing. We're interested as a group about it. We want to gauge community interest in it. I think that's
yeah,
absolutely a logical first step. And I think they would be my sense of Jeff and David is they would be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You got to make sure we can make a case to someone to fund it, make a case to someone to be responsible for it on some level, right? Like, but the first step is, talking to people in the village and seeing what they think.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's really key right there.
Yeah.
Talking to people and also maybe putting it out to the wider community to say who might be interested in this. And
yeah,
then they might have come in on a little group with us and
Right.
also brainstorm with us. So really find out, who knows, one of them probably has like, oh, I got a trailer, we can put that right on there. Or I've got this, like let's make it happen with what our community can do and have
Right.
our community be the ones who
Shape it.
make
Yep.
it, yeah, shape it to what we want, what we
Yep.
want to have.
Totally agree. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It was
I,
honestly, it was nice to be able to get out there and go meet some other,
Oh, totally.
I don't usually just drive through Brandon, so it was nice to
Yeah.
get down there and me and Dan got
Uh,
to see it. So
Definitely.
cool.
Yeah. I thought it was so fun to meet them at the thing over.
It was VCAN, right? Is that
Yeah,
what it was?
VK, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah. Great ideas.
maybe we could build one and we have planters on the side of it, Rockydale Gardens, that
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Sponsored by Rockydale. No.
make it
Oh,
look
yeah.
like a garden shed
Nice
instead of an
try.
outhouse.
I met Ed actually at Main Street Stationer last week, so making the connections. All right.
Oh, wow. That's
Anyways,
great.
anyways.
Oh yeah. See,
Okay,
we've got a lot in our town. A
that's
lot of
true.
wisdom and interest,
Expertise.
and it's the people in our town who are going to really want to make it work for us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yep.
talent.
All right, so anything else on Toolship? I got a lot. I got like almost an entire page of notes on Toolship,
Yeah.
so that's
I've
great.
Great.
Um, okay, the next one here on the agenda is just about the EV chargers. I don't think there's much for us to say at this point. I saw the select board maybe had put that policy about the town green that Ian had described to us last month. I think that was on a select board agenda. I don't really know where it went. I haven't watched the video of the select board meeting yet, but I want to just to kind of see where everybody else is. I mean, we know how Ian feels about it and kind of um what his perspective is there. So I think that's the story on the level twos is we're kind of still working through that town green policy. And then the level threes, I mean, it's much ado about nothing. I mean, Norwich has been
Yeah.
all quiet still, so unfortunately, I don't think there's much
Yeah.
else to say there on
Yeah.
that.
Have you guys read the book Abundance?
No,
I haven't
I don't
yet.
think I have.
I'd like
Mm-mm.
to.
The Ezra Klein,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And what is it, Joshua Taylor? Um, the whole thesis of abundance is that we've worked ourselves into a big corner in terms of being able to get things done.
Mhm.
And, we're experiencing that right now with these projects.
Mm.
You can see why things take so long.
Mm.
I'm somewhat encouraged because abundance has received a lot of attention and a lot of spin-off stuff with people who are saying, yeah, we really need to deal with this. And even the Act 250 uh, changes really are beginning to follow along in some of the recommendations from Abundance that we gotta make it quicker for people to do things without,
Yeah,
without destroying everything in the process. But
yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical of the concept of like mass deregulation in
oh
general
yeah,
because I think you can't do that without like uh people with ulterior or organizations, corporations, use whatever word you
totally.
want, taking that to their advantage. So abundance as a theory is I'm skeptical of, but it would be better than nothing. It would be better than what we have right now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
yeah, that's to be judiciously applied. But
That's right.
uh,
That's right.
I mean, that seems like what a lot of things are happening right now. They're happening without doing it correctly
Well, yeah,
from the
it seems
government.
that the top down approach right now is break stuff and just
Yeah,
don't fix it. And it's
exactly.
like, okay, well,
no, they've got to
that
do it right.
is yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's EV chargers, and the last thing, this is really just for to keep me honest. I got the yearly email from Ian that they're putting together the town report for town meeting for next March. So we got to do I got to just write up a little one. I think I did one page last year of just kind of what we did this year as the
Yeah,
energy committee. So
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
One
got
page is
obviously all
good.
the meeting minutes. So
Put a little teaser in about the tool ship.
oh yeah, oh I will. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
put a picture in there about the tool ship.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
just
considered
what is
this.
this?
Yeah, people go, "Huh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that." Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'll try to get it out to the committee first before I send it to Ian. I think he wants it by the 31st, usually by the end of the year. So I'm gonna hopefully have something um put to everybody before Christmas. So which, if you look at it, great. If not, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It'll be
definitely.
fine.
Sure.
So I'm gonna target to do that. All right. So that's the end of the year report. And now we're on to the fun other business. Anybody have any other business or projects or things to talk about? We've been going for a while. It's 8:15. Wow.
Yeah, we got all excited for a while
No,
there,
tool
actually.
ship, right?
It doesn't take much.
Yeah,
That's true. Doesn't take much. Okay. Well, hearing none, I think we can adjourn. I'll type up the meeting minutes, send it out to everybody, and yeah, be on the lookout for the draft end of year report from me as well. If you can take a look,
great.
great. Otherwise,
Definitely.
we'll
I'll
uh
love looking at it.
we'll see everybody in January, okay?
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
Hey,
Thanks.
everybody have a good
Yeah, enjoy your holidays, everybody.
year.
Yeah, you too.
Stay safe.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
Thanks
Night.
for doing all this, Ben.
Yeah.